Sometimes even good people can make a mistake. And when it happens, it's one of the most intense and emotional experiences of your life. It could be a DUI, or maybe you were in the wrong place with the wrong people at the wrong time. Or perhaps you just did something stupid at the spur of the moment without even thinking, and now you're in trouble with the law. Well, you need experienced legal help right away so you don't become a victim of the criminal justice system. Even good people can make a mistake, and if you, a friend, or a loved one has been accused of a crime, don't make another mistake by hiring the wrong attorney for the kind of help you need. You need to visit toddjohnslaw.com. That's toddjohnslaw.com, and then call Attorney Todd Johns today. Attorney Todd Johns has decades of experience helping good people like you who have made mistakes or bad decisions and will stand by you every step of the way. toddjohnslaw.com.
All right, hello and welcome to That's Enough Out of You. I am your podcast host, Mr. Bill Rader. My co-host is on assignment this week. Sean is not with us, but I have my band with me. We are taking over the podcast this week. We are almost infamous. So let me introduce everybody. We have our lovely and talented singer, Ms. Kate Mangan. Kate, how are you?
I'm good, Bill. How are you?
Doing pretty good, thank you. All right, and next we have Mike Heitczman, who is our lead guitar player. Mike, what's going on?
What's everybody doing today?
And last but not least, Brad Chikowski, who is our bass player. Brad, what's going on?
I'm tired. We just came off a double. Why are we doing this on Sunday?
It's been a long weekend, I know.
I'm tired.
We are, as we record this, we're sort of between drummers, but by the time this drops, as they say in the podcast world, we will most likely have our new drummer. So we'll have to do a follow-up one of these days with our new drummer, whoever that ends up being. So, all right, guys, this is not totally unstructured, although feel free to jump in and say whatever you want, whenever you want, and however you want, because if you want to curse, you can curse or do whatever you want, man. This is it's a podcast. It's
just made Kate's day. Take a smile.
It's my other talent.
It's the Wild West of broadcasting. Anybody can do it. Anybody with a microphone and a computer can have a podcast, clearly. All right. I'll kick us off. I'll start with one question and we'll go around the horn. What got you interested in music and wanting to play music? Was it a song, a record, video, concert that you went to? Who wants to start? Kate.
Okay. This is going to be wildly unusual. I can't wait to share this story. When I was little, we have a big family, came from a very, very big family. And part of my upbringing was spent in the Catholic Church. So I remember loving the music. I remember I could not wait to join the church choir. And you were allowed to do that as soon as you received First Holy Communion. And I was so gung-ho about it. And I think the thing I loved the most was the harmonies. My mom is a really talented singer. She won't sing anymore now. Sometimes she will, but she sang a cappella choir in college at an all-female college. And just in the car, she would sing harmonies. And I loved learning how to sing against her just from like driving the grocery store. And my dad has always played guitar, and I would sit on his bed when we were little and we'd sing like James Taylor and Carole King. And again, they would just always sing harmony against whatever I was taught to sing. So finally, when it was my turn to be a part of something, it was the coolest thing. Clearly, I'm not a super good Catholic anymore, but that was kind of where I really felt the first time that voices coming together was one of my absolute favorite things. And I think that's why, especially with you, I love singing harmony. I'll do anything, anytime. I'll make it up anywhere. And from there, I moved on I played piano for a long time. I played various instruments all throughout high school and always stuck with voice. And from there, I moved on into theater and other realms. But yes, oddly enough, despite the sailor mouth that I have, church was really where I first got my first kind of taste of music.
Yeah. That's probably the case for a lot of people.
I think so.
Yeah.
Other than the informative side of this podcast, I think it's neat that we're actually going to learn more about each other, that things we didn't know. It's kind of
Right.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Yeah, I'll jump next. Mine was 1986, Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. I started listening to it, and I loved the Duff McKagan's bass lines, but I didn't realize that it was bass that I was listening to. I said, man, I want to do this. So I asked my parents for a guitar, and they couldn't afford it. So my grandmother got me one. And I said, man, I want to take lessons. So I started taking a lesson, and I'm like, no, this isn't what I want to play. I'm like, show me how to play this. He's like, no, dude, that's a bass. I'm like, well, I don't want to play this. So I turned around a week later, and I bought a bass guitar. I'm like, that's what I want to play. So that was, God, 35 years ago. And that's the CD. That was, well, it wasn't the CD. That was the cassette that started it off.
Yeah.
So, and I'm still, last night played the Duff McKagan bass. So that's 35 years still playing the same ass guitar.
Again, I think that's probably the same story for a lot of people. That album was like revolutionary. You know, people never heard anything like it.
You're right.
Yeah, it was crazy. What about you, Mike?
Well, for me, it probably dates back to, I want to say maybe 1976, 1977, as I am the oldest one of the bunch. One name was Billy Joel. I mean, I started out, I heard Billy Joel. My family was in no way musical, anybody in my family. Nobody could keep a beat. Nobody could hold a tune to save their life. I heard Billy Joel on the radio, and it just blew me away. And I wanted to play piano. So I was probably 7, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, maybe. Started taking piano lessons, and I ended up probably with 10 years of classical piano. And that was what I did. I was not a guitar player back in those days in any way. Didn't even know really what guitar sounded like, to be honest with you, because everything in my world revolved around piano at that time. Until I started hearing some Led Zeppelin and heard that overdriven guitar sound. And I thought, man, that sounds awesome. I want to make that kind of noise. But I stuck with piano for years, and through high school, played in all the the musical productions, and did some theater work with some vocalists, and a lot of competitions in the Pennsylvania area back in those days, until I got into high school. Then I got to jamming with some friends, playing keyboards. Some kind of transition to keyboard. Played in a couple bands where I did keyboard and bass on keyboard. And then my grandfather bought me my first guitar. I think the first one, I don't know, it was either a Beastie Rich Warlock or might have been a Kramer. I don't even remember what my first one was. But I couldn't figure out, I had this little crate combo amp, little 8-inch speaker. Couldn't figure out how to get that same sound that Jimmy Page had. Just couldn't make that noise. And I found a distortion pedal. But and I still played keyboard. I mean, I played keyboard through high school. Played in some, bigger bands where I was a keyboard player, and I played keyboard and guitar in those bands. I was basically self-taught on guitar, and it's still to this day. I've never took a guitar lesson in my life, but learned how to read tab, learned mostly playing by ear. I pick up stuff by ear a lot better than I do reading, and got to the point where I got away from music for a while, and then I just gave up on the keyboard and just stuck to guitar, and it's been that ever since. And I don't know if I could play the same stuff on keyboard that I used to. I'd like to think I could. They say it comes back after time, but I don't know. But yeah, that was it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I've tried. I took piano lessons when I was a kid too. And I probably took piano lessons for maybe 4 or 5 years. And then that was it. Like I didn't want to do that anymore. I kind of gave that up. I wanted to play guitar too. My parents bought me this cheap acoustic guitar from like Sugarman's or something. And, the action was like an inch off the fretboard. It was like killed my fingers to play it. And I had no idea what I was doing. Like I didn't even know how to tune the guitar.
But you had a guitar and you felt cool, so that's all that mattered at that point.
Kind of. I mean, if I knew how to play it, it would have been better. But but yeah, no, music was always part of my life. My parents were big into music. I would sit and listen to all their records, the Rolling Stones and Beatles and all that stuff. And until I finally decided I wanted to play. And like I said, that's when I asked for a guitar. They bought me that guitar, and I didn't know how to play, so they set me up with a guitar teacher, and he was trying to get me to play like, Lionel Richie and Polly Wolly Doodle or whatever. And I was like, no, I want to play Guns N' Roses, man. I want to play, Motley Crue and Poison. And the guy was like, no, you have to learn how to play this stuff before you can play that crazy rock and roll. And I was like, yeah, forget it. I'm not doing this. So the guitar went into the closet, well, it came out again, but not for many years. And then, I joined my first band. I think I was like 19, and that's when I started wanting to play guitar again. And that's our lead guitar player in that band, who was also Mike. He set me up with, he gave me a Strat, like a Squire Strat that he had sitting around, and this tiny little 10-watt practice amp, and said, here, go learn how to play. So I did. I started to learn. I actually learned from like Metallica tab books. But that was it. And been doing it ever since. So
Everybody has a story. Everybody's a little different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. All right, guys. All right, another question for everybody. And this, you really got to think about this one. So, what's the most unusual or the craziest thing that's happened to you that's performance related? So either on stage or practice or, whatever. And Kate, this could be, music, could be, stage, whatever you can come up with.
Goodness. I'm trying to think. So I've done a lot of performance over time. I have to say, one of the craziest things we went to with a band, and I was like totally not ready for it. And this is, I'd taken a break from theater and singing to have my kids when they were a little bit younger and kind of like, I want to say, preschoolish and more sufficient. I'd like be with them all the time. I could leave them my folks. I went back into singing, and we ended up at a biker wedding. And I don't even know where I was. They took me somewhere all the way up north in the middle of thing. And they were doing like these shotgun salutes over the Susquehanna. And I just thought, like, where am I? How did I get here? Especially coming from, at that time, I've always been musical theater. I didn't do a lot of like heavier rock stuff. I sang in wedding bands in college. So, Earth, Wind, and Fire all day. And suddenly I was in this band and like, no, we're to do this. And I was like, oh, okay. So trying to find that sound was really unique. But then with the genre change came the clientele change. And I was just like, I don't know where I'm at. I'm wearing some leather jacket, which is at the time definitely not like, preschool teacher Kate at the time. And it was just so weird. That's probably the one thing I can think of. And I've had a number of costume malfunctions on stage just from theater. There's been a lot of like trying to hold together shirts suddenly or whatever. Those are always, I feel like those happen all the time though.
No, like bodily function problems up on stage, anything like, I've heard a ton of those stories.
No, I don't think I've had anything like that. I've watched a number of performers and students run off stage and vomit right after they performed, which drives me crazy. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I'm like, you never know when to be ready for that. I think some people do have a legit sort of stage fright.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've not had that happen. Fortunately, I think I'm more of a shake. Like I kind of shake when I get too nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But the throwing up thing, I'm thrilled, is not kind of my go-to.
Brad or Mike, what about you guys? Any crazy stories? Performance related?
I got a couple, probably, since this is gonna be viewed by more than people than I care to share a few stories with. Then I'll keep them for private band time. But I got one I can share. You know, I'm not the most graceful person in the world, so I'm gonna fall more than once. You guys will be able to see that, but I'm surprised I haven't done it yet this year. But we had a good show down in Florida one time. We were playing on a deck, and I just decided to sit my ass down on a railing, and I was just jamming back and forth. I went backwards. My feet were the only things up in the air, dude.
Oh my God.
Back down in the bushes. And I think I was just one beer in. It wasn't even, it was just like, where's Brad? There's his feet.
Over there.
So, yeah. So it's going to happen. I'm just letting you know. Just keep going without me.
The sad part is you will probably take me out with you because
I'm always right next to you. Yeah. I'm always dancing around you. You know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's mine.
I don't think I've had anything to that extreme crazy like that. I mean, other than technical malfunctions and I mean, there are definitely some stories back in the late 80s with some of the bars and clubs that we used to play at back in the Lehigh Valley area where you know, back then the music scene was massive and the crowds would just get stupid. I mean, the partying that went on in clubs and after hours places we played, again, the stories could go on, and some of the stuff shouldn't be discussed online. But as far as anything stupid, if it happened, probably partied way too much back then to remember at this point. I don't know.
All right. Well, I have two actually, and they're pretty similar stories, but they're both pretty funny. We used to practice. I was in this band. We played like, you know, thrash metal, death metal type of stuff. This was back probably early 90s.
Is there any video of this around? Because I would so love to see this.
No.
I know, right?
If there is, I don't have it, but there's definitely demo tape somewhere. I have super VHS cassettes that were like the master tapes from the demo that we did. We recorded at what was that music store in downtown Scranton? I can't remember the name of it. Started with a G.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the name.
Well, they had a recording studio upstairs, and we recorded a demo.
What was that?
I can't remember the name of it now. Gianettas, is that it? I think it was
What was
Gianettas.
it?
Gianettas? Does that sound familiar?
it's-
I think that's what it was.
I
Anyway,
might be thinking of something else. And yeah, go ahead.
so we used to practice in this building that these two guys bought. It was like an abandoned railroad station. And there were probably 10 or 15 different rooms. They were just tiny little rooms, no windows or anything. And you rented it for like, I don't know, maybe $100 a month or something. It may not have even been that much, maybe like 75. And you could practice there. And there were probably like most of the bands were there. And during that time, it was like all like hardcore, you know, straight edge bands. There were just, you know, all different kinds of bands practicing in this place. And we spent hours and hours and hours and hours practicing. Like we probably, for the amount of time that we actually played out, we probably practiced, you know, 50 times more than we actually played out. And one night we were sitting in there. It was probably like a Saturday night, probably around midnight or something. We were wrapping up, and this one of the bass players from one of the other bands was blasted out of his mind. He wanders into our room and just plops down with a case of beer. And he goes, "I got to tell you guys something." He goes, "You guys are the best fucking band in this place, and every fucking one of these bands knows it. So don't ever be ashamed or like whatever what you guys play." And he's just going on like rambling on and on and on about how all these bands are hypocrites. They say they're straight edge, but they're in there drinking and doing drugs and having sex with girls and everything. And he was just going on and on. We were like, all right. Eventually, after like an hour, we were like, all right, thanks, bud. Like, you can go now. He wasn't moving. He was just drinking one beer after another. And eventually we got him to leave. And then the second time this kind of thing happened, it was the same thing. We were in there, we were practicing, and some random old dude just wanders in. And we must have, we were the only band left that night because probably everybody else was out either playing or drinking. And this guy just wanders in to the practice room, and he looks at us and he goes, "Where are the go-go dancers?" And we're looking at each other. We're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "There's go-go dancers here." And we're like, "Buddy, there's no go-go dancers here. We promise." He goes, "No, don't tell me there's go-go dancers. I know it." And we're looking at each other. So we tried to get this guy to leave. He was another guy. He just stood there for like probably 15, 20 minutes. He's yelling at us that he knows that there's go-go dancers. And eventually he turned to leave. And our one guitar player played like a real loud power chord. And he turns around and he goes, "What the fuck was that?" He goes, "You're fucking me. You're fucking me." And we're like, "Buddy, we're not doing anything, I swear." He's like, "Oh, you're fucking me." So he turns around again, and like an idiot, the guitar player plays another, and he comes back in. He goes, "I know it. You're fucking me." He goes, "I'm going to turn around and you're going to fuck me." We're like, "No, we promise we're not going to fuck you when you turn around, pal." So literally, eventually we physically had to escort this guy out of the building. And when we got outside, his car was still running. The door was open. And he was like parked up against the building. Like he had almost crashed into the building. He was so wasted. We put him in his car. I don't know why we did it, but we put him back in his car and sent him on his way.
That's crazy. I will tell you a similar story we had, and I can't think of his name, but he was an older gentleman, a biker guy, always like had his vest on. And every single time we would sing Joey from Concrete Blonde, he'd pull up a chair. And I'd sing right to him. And the previous girl singer did it, and I did it. He was the sweetest guy. He is also, I think, why we got that biker wedding. But the nicest dude. And I think his real name, his first name was Joseph or Joey. So he loved when we sang Joey. And the reason we got kicked out of the casino and we were never invited back, he took one of those tall chairs, put it up on the bar, climbed up on the bar. He was like nose to nose with me practically, that high up off the ground in the middle of Joey. And I was like, the casino workers had to come in and get him off the bar. And then there was another time he was with us.
Why did you get kicked out?
Because he was one of our people, like not like one of our people, but like, I mean, it wasn't us, but clearly we inspired a riot, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of his name. It was a nickname of some sort. Still super hysterical and the nicest guy. But however, I think it had to be the V spot or something like it. Again, he brings the chair, and just like you, Brad, he fell back and touched over tin cups and was just like feet up in the air. He was that drunk.
Yeah, the casino doesn't like lawsuits.
No, but I mean, he took the chair up and climbed up there. I'll never forget it. And I was like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "We're never going to be invited back." And sure enough, we were not. I can't think of his name, but oh goodness. Anyway, that was, yeah. The crowd is always sometimes a wild card. I know we do stupid things, but I think the patrons tend to have a really good time too, which I appreciate.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you can't control your crowd all the time.
No. Just got to play off it and make the best of what you got.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We will be right back. DK's Corner, now located at 201 Cherry Street in Jessup, Pennsylvania, is serving up the area's best tasting food at respectable prices. Known for our great cheesesteaks, DK's also has delicious breakfast sandwiches, specialty coffees, and catering 7 days a week. You'll love the wraps, soups, and pizza too. We're now open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit DK's Corner on Facebook to see our daily specials, and make sure to follow and like us while you're there. We offer local delivery to homes and businesses, takeout, or come and dine in our new restaurant in Jessup. Call or text DK's Corner at 570-209-0. We will be right back. Hey, Sean, I want to make sure that everybody knows about our Patreon. I know we mention it every once in a while on the show, but really important that that people check out our Patreon. If you go to Patreon and search for That's Enough Out of You, or just click on the link in the description, you'll find we do an extra episode every week called the Speakeasy, and it's really just usually just Sean and I kind of talking about the day's events, current events, and things like that. But a lot of exciting things. I mean, I know, Sean, you're constantly putting articles up there on our Patreon.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes, Bill, we do bring on special guests. We had Dave Whelan on, we had Scranton Dave, and every now and then we bring Patreon members on. You know, we've had different members, Scott Alfieri, Michael Pilch, Dan Hankey was on. So, you know, there's an opportunity there if you want to come on the show with us. You know, so there's a lot of things we're doing. Like you mentioned, Bill, the articles. I put articles up on a free site, but I also put articles on Patreon that's not available on the free site. You know, we have a lot of times I put up future intel about guests that we have coming up and stuff that we have coming up on the podcast. And, you know, we created a great community there, Bill. There's a lot of chat goes on there. There's a community chat and a lot of the comments back and forth. Just the Patreon members always have great insight. So it's a community, Bill, and it's an opportunity for people to join for a really good price, Bill.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat it. You can certainly become a free member if you want to. There's also tiered levels to you know, with subscription amounts, and just for $1 that gets you everything. I mean, the $1 gets you everything, you know, including our weekly show. There's other tiers. I think, Sean, what is there? A $3 tier?
$3, there's a $5, there's a $10. I mean, and there's a $50 if people could afford to give $50.
Yeah, I mean, totally up to you. You know, once you join, you can make that decision, and certainly, you know, there's no commitment. I mean, you could join for a month or 2 months or whatever you want, and then you know, you can switch your subscription around. Totally up to you. I mean, that's, you know, people love Patreon for that reason. It really is. It makes it easy. It's kind of, you know, however you want to do it, however you want to join. And we certainly appreciate anybody who joins our Patreon and supports the show, because we definitely, you know, Sean, we're not getting rich off of this podcast, that's for sure. But we definitely, you know, appreciate any support that we get from our listeners.
And, you know, we also have our merchandise store. If people want to check out, we have the shirt that I have on now. We have mugs up there. We have cups, hats, anything you can do to help the podcast grow. We also have a bookshop up there, Bill, where all the authors that we have on our podcast, we have their books up. And it supports local bookstores, Bill. The money goes to local bookstores, a little bit to us, and then to the publisher and to the author. So it's a real good opportunity instead of buying Amazon and you know, making
supporting billionaires.
Right, sure. There's an opportunity. And as far as Patreon, one last thing, Bill, if you want to join as a free member, we do put some stuff up there for the free members, and then if you like it and you want to upgrade, you can do that.
Absolutely. So definitely check out our Patreon. Like I said, there's a link in the description to our Patreon, or you can just go to Patreon and search for That's Enough Out of You, look for our logo, and just fill in the information and you can join. All right, that's it, Sean. We appreciate all of our Patreon members, and we hope that you guys will consider checking it out if you haven't joined. Thank you.
Buddy.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many broken noses there were at the CC's back in the day from people slamming into each other. Yeah.
That's that speed metal crowd that you hung out with back when I was into it back then. Everybody just wanted to borrow hairspray. There was nobody who wanted to fight. We put hairspray. That was it.
Yeah, hairsprays and picks and everything else.
Yeah. Spandex. I mean, no leather.
Yeah. No, there were some crazy. We saw some pretty crazy stuff happen at CC's, but. A lot of the bands that played there, they were, you know, like nationally signed bands that, you know, I'm sure, Mike, you probably never heard of, but, you know, a lot of the death metal bands and stuff, but they were all really cool guys. Like, they would just hang out in the back, and we used to go back there and just hang out with them. I mean, there wasn't really much of a backstage. It was just like you walked out the back door, and there was kind of a little bit of an area back there where, you know, the bands would just hang out until it was their turn. But even like, there's a band called Deicide. I don't know, Brad, if you've ever heard of them.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I'm not familiar with them, their stuff though.
When they started, they got, believe it or not, they actually got a little bit more normal as they went on. But like when they started, they would like paint their face with pig's blood and everything. It was crazy stuff. The one guy, the lead singer or screamer, whatever he is, who's also the bass player, he actually carved an upside down cross into his forehead. But when you talk to, like, I actually talked to the guy. His name is Glenn Benton. He's just a nice, normal, nice guy. Like, he just has some crazy ways of expressing himself. But I said, I probably had like a, 3-minute conversation with the guy, and he's just a nice guy. But I don't know. Anyway, all right. I got one more question for everybody, and then we can kind of we'll talk about what we got coming up. But all right, last question. If you could jam one song with anyone, living or dead, who would it be, and what song would it be?
I'll go first on this one, and it's the first thing that popped in my head. I would love, there's probably a ton of them. The first thing in my head, I would love to do Barracuda with Heart. Kind of not a big, but it's a song I always loved, fun to play, love to play with those girls.
I would 100% burn out and hang out all day long with Bob Marley and just jam my bass and play reggae all day. That's what I would love to do.
That's surprising.
Yeah,
so you have no idea what I do in my downtime, Bill.
That's true.
I'm into reggae so much, you have no idea.
Wow, that's cool.
That's how I decompress, dude.
Oh, I didn't know.
I was expecting Green Day on that one.
No, that's my fun time, not my decompress time.
I think very similar to you, Mike. I love Heart, but that's a good one. I am a huge Pat Benatar fan and Neil Giraldo. They have the most adorable little relationship, and I think that they've always been so exceptional at songwriting together, and they feed off each other so incredibly well. So that's probably my number one. I'm a chick rock kind of girl. I will give you a quick number two, though. I love Tori Amos. I love how she takes her classical training and piano and things like that and turns it completely upside down. And she was a massive influence for me, and I've seen her in concert a million times. So if she wants to call me, I'll be there in a heartbeat.
Cool. Well, for me, it would be Neil Young. I would love to jam with Neil Young. Cortez the Killer, like any of those songs, Down by the River. Just he's got so many songs that you could just like jam out forever on. And I don't know. I've loved Neil Young forever, probably since I was in high school. Just listen to everything he's ever done. So yeah, that's me.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So this episode is probably going to air sometime, probably about a month from now. So we'll have we got a lot of stuff coming up this summer, a lot of shows coming up. On August 1st, we are at the Weatherly Police Golf Tournament. So that
would be at the Mountain Valley Golf Course in Barnesville, PA. That is a private ticketed event, but if you play golf, get a hold of the Weatherly Police, get a team together, come out to the tournament, come party with us afterwards.
Then we got a couple shows. One right near me, it's a place called Cheap Shots in Oliphant, Pennsylvania. We'll be there on August 2nd. And then the week following that, we'll be at a place called the Honky Tonk in Dunmore, Pennsylvania. And that's on August 9th. August 16th, we're back at the B3Q. And then on September 6th, August 23rd, we're at the Weatherly Festival. I missed that one.
So everybody's welcome to stop at my house for that one. We'll have a fire afterwards, have a couple drinks, and that'll be a nice party. It's a good little community festival, great food vendors, and of course, Almost Infamous will be playing. Good time.
Yeah, that's in Weatherly, PA. And then we are at a great place in Humboldt, Pennsylvania, called the Tap. So if you like
Hazelton.
Hazelton, yeah.
Humboldt.
Yep. So if you are in the area, like I said, that's a great place to go, great venue. And then the last one I'll have on here is End of Summer Bash at Hammerhead Hops and Grill. Where's that one, Mike?
That's in Northampton, PA, down in the Lehigh Valley, outside of Allentown. It's a family bowling center with a restaurant bar in it that's been completely redone. Beautiful facility, great menu, great drinks there. When is that? That's on the 27th. But we do have two more before that. September 12th, we are back at B3Q again, and September 13th, we will be at the Mountaintop Pub and Eatery in Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, for a show up in their back room back there.
Oh, okay.
So that will be September 13th.
That's my birthday. That'll be cool. Cool way to celebrate.
Birthday show for Bill.
All right.
Yeah.
I think the cool thing to talk about too, though, Bill, is I've had to explain this a couple times because everybody's like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And the neatest thing about us is that we're all up and down 81. So like you're up towards Jessup at the top of 81. Brad and I are sort of right in the middle in the Pittston area, Wyoming area. And then we spend part of our time down towards Hazelton, Weatherly, where Mike is. And the neat thing for us is that we book so many different places. I think generously, it's like 40 minutes either way for Brad and I. I know it's a little bit longer for you guys when you travel all the way up and all the way down. But it helps us get out there. I feel like we don't deplete our crowd because we kind of get people from all over coming in. It gives us a broader base and a broader way to meet people. And the venues have been great, especially down towards you, Mike. I'll go down there anytime.
Yeah.
They're enthusiastic and the food is always good.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely helps us spread ourselves out a little bit more. It gets our name out and expands our area, which is great. It gets people to know who we are. So
yep.
The question I get asked all the time is like, what kind of music do you guys play? And I'm always like, well, it's rock, but it's from all different eras. Like we play stuff from the 70s, the 80s, 90s, almost up until, today. Like we do so much different stuff.
I like to call it Adele to Zeppelin. So that we could get on that though. And we'd like stick by it, like the A to Z idea, right? The Adele to Zeppelin. So we need to throw an Adele song and we need to throw in a Zeppelin song amongst the 85 other requests that I have.
100% agree with that. Yeah, we're definitely a little different than a lot of the cover bands that are out there today. I mean, some of these cover bands they'll stick to an 80s genre, 80s, 70s. We really spread our musical selection out, which I think, some people may not like some of the songs we do, but they may love other songs that we do. So we play a little bit for everybody.
Yep. But what I like about what we do is we put our own spin on everything. We make everything a little gritty and make it our own. We have a very unique sound. I like that.
Yeah, and as we've progressed as a band together, our sound has kind of defined itself. We've all gotten more comfortable playing with each other, and I've noticed every show we do, we all put our own little touch on everything, whether it be certain way Kate does things or certain things I do, or even your bass lines and Bill. We're kind of defining our own selves, and it's good. I mean, I like what we're doing.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it kind of still allows us to be a little bit creative, even though we're playing other people's songs, we can still do our own thing with it. So. And
I think that's what, spectators like to see. They could put a record or CD on if they want to hear it exactly.
Right.
I mean, I don't think I haven't heard anybody complain about any way we've done anything. They all seem to love what we do. So. And we definitely do certain songs differently than the originals. And even last night we were doing, I remember what's one Tom Petty song that you sing.
American Girl.
No. The one that we do the Bon Jovi version of it, kind of. Free World.
Oh, that's Neil Young.
Neil Young.
Oh, yeah. But I saw some guys at the bar, and we were kind of heavy with that. And
we are. Yeah.
some guys were really into it. They were jamming that. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely cool.
Yeah, that's one song a lot of bands have covered that song. I know Pearl Jam's done it. Pearl Jam actually did that song with Neil Young. But a lot of different bands cover that song. So it's cool to like, put your own spin on it. It's funny. I was driving home last night and I had Sirius on. I was listening to the Dave Matthews channel. I was just kind of flipping around, and the Dave Matthews Band channel came up, and it said All Along the Watchtower. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll listen to that. And you guys know I love mashups. They actually worked in Stairway to Heaven in All Along the Watchtower, and I mean it was seamless because the chords are pretty much the same. But it's stuff like that just, makes a song memorable. Like if you go to see somebody play something and, they put something else in there, they switch it around or whatever. Like that's the kind of stuff that people remember,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think we cover a good range of stuff too. Like it was nice to see some of the people like, our age or like the kind of more slightly older crowd, but also too to see the kids last night. Like we had that whole group from Mikey's band and all their friends, but they were bopping along and I was like, all right, that's awesome. Like,
Oh yeah.
sometimes you forget that like,
Yeah.
I know, for instance, like I know Brianna and Gwenny, like our kids, Brad, like they have such a great selection of music that they listen to. I mean, I walk in, I found Gabriel sang Dio at the musical theater karaoke party. He gets up and sings The Holy Diver. And I was like, I love you so much.
I know.
And Gwenny will bop up and sing Zombie, but it's interesting that like everything old is new again. And I think I
Absolutely.
forget that sometimes,
Yeah.
that they still like this music. So
Yeah.
it is hard to curate what we think the crowd wants, but the crowd seems to like whatever we do. And I think
No,
as long as we
we
keep
have
adding our
a
edge.
really good mix. We really do. And we did that last night because I'm like you said, our crowd ranged last night from 21 to 70. I mean, it really did. That was the
Yeah.
mix we had last night.
And
I think we handled it well.
you have to remember,
So
people in their 50s and 60s, that's us. Like they like the same music that we like,
Yeah.
So they're gonna.
don't need to remind it though. I mean, you didn't need to bring it up.
But the girls that were there with Mikey's crew were singing, and they're in their early 20s. They were singing the same songs
Yeah.
Yeah,
that the 50
absolutely.
year olds were singing, and they knew them. So music crosses the generations.
Definitely. Yeah.
But
All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap this up? This was fun.
all your viewers need to find us on Facebook and hit that like button. We need to get those
Yes.
numbers up, get the followers going, and also follow our schedule. Come out and see us if you're anywhere local in the Northeast P area. I mean, we do cover a nice variety of territory, or if you know a place in the area that we may be good for, hook us up, get us some information, tell your bar owners or event planners, contact Almost Infamous.
Yeah. Or some of we have viewers like all over the world. We have a lot of people in Europe and Australia, and so if you guys want to fly us out there and set us up,
Have passport, we'll travel.
I was looking more towards Key West, but I'll go to Scotland or
Is that a tax write-off? I'm here for that. Absolutely.
Estonia is very nice this time of year.
yeah.
Band vacation. All right.
Yeah, there we go.
I won't
All right.
argue.
We are Almost Infamous. Check us out on Facebook. I'll actually put the link in the description so you can get right to it. All right, guys. Kate, Mike, Brad, thank you guys so
All
much.
right.
Appreciate you taking the time coming on with me today.
All right.
Absolutely.
As always.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
Have a
Rock
great
on.
day.
That's Enough Out of You podcast is executive produced and written by Bill Rader and Sean Kane and edited by Bill Rader. The That's Enough Out of You podcast and logo are exclusive property of Bags of Chicken, LLC. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or accounts of this podcast without the express written consent of Bags of Chicken, LLC is prohibited. So don't even try it.